Hello there, welcome back. This is me returning from a slight break. As you can see, I'm just a normal background at the moment. I'm just trying out this camera with a new sound. I've got one of these, so hopefully that'll make the sound better. This 4K camera, I'm trying it out, see what happens. So we'll see what happens. So see how it goes. Today I am starting off. I didn't do a Sunday one, but I'm doing a Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Then hopefully next week I'll start back into rhythm of it. But so I'm not doing a full week quite yet. But I'm starting off with Domino, the new Brian DePalma film. This film was released on VOD over the past month or two worldwide. It just came over to Britain here. It's just on VOD, like on Amazon streaming, but also you could buy it in Blu-ray, which that's how I saw it. This is a film with a problematic production, to say the least. According to De Palma, the financing wasn't in the best shape. They were shooting on the run a lot of the time. They were trying to deal with not enough money to make the film. And then once the film was handed in, apparently some bits were cut from it, from De Palma's cut. So it's not, the final release is not De Palma's cut. He hasn't like disowned it or anything. Just this is not my preferred cut of the film, and that's as far as they went. And he's moved on, I think, after that point, because there's a certain point you only go so far before you just have to move on. The film itself, you can feel there's some stuff cut from it. You definitely feel that there's bits missing from the actual film. But it's a lot better than the reviews have been. The reviews have been pretty awful to this film. It just feels like it's time to bash the power time again. I mean, a lot of time when power films come out, a lot of time they're just trashed. And then a few years later, they're a lot better than you'd have thought. Well, they trash a new one. So it's like, his films always get better reviews later than they do on release, because there's a lot of snide critics who hate him, because he's a lefty director who enjoys, poking fun at PC culture, so a lot of lefties don't like him. A lot of the right wing don't like him because he takes the mickey out of the militarism and all the right wing ideals. So he's trashed by both sides. I mean, it's like, he doesn't have much of a shot. He's enemies on both sides. And then especially when you get a film that obviously wasn't finished properly, like it was taken away from him, that doesn't help. But the film itself is a lot better than the reputation suggests. I mean, it was getting like 1-star reviews in some places, and I just think that's just like a hatchet job. I mean, it's not a perfect film, but it's not a 1-star film either. The film itself takes a look at terrorism and the hunt for Islamic extremists who's working over these other Muslims to suicide bomb, to mass murder people. He's not a good guy. I know it's taken from the worst aspects of Islamic extremism, this character. But the film is not anti-Islam. It kind of points out how horrible the Americans are, how dysfunctional the Europeans are. Everybody's a problem. You see other Muslims in the film wandering around different districts, and they're just on with their lives like normal people. It's not like they're saying every Muslims are terrorists. It doesn't say that. That's not the implication in the film. He's careful not to have someone say not all Muslims are like this, but he just shows like typical streets. Some streets have lots of white people, some streets have lots of Muslims. People get on with their lives. Well, this film, all in all, is in the background. Most people can't be bothered with this, insanity. It's just a few crazy people with very religious beliefs that are causing the problems. And also, you've got the CIA involved, and they're causing their own problems. And so it's not as simple as it's not an anti-Muslim film. It's anti-extremism, But even then, it's showing you that it's more complicated. Like, it shows you like the whole idea, like they're saying these people were brainwashed into doing this, and it shows that a lot of these people were, a lot of the terrorists were scared and were nervous, but they thought they were doing it for their beliefs, so it wasn't brainwashed, it was someone taking advantage of someone's beliefs to make them think they were doing something for God, not being a terrorist. And it shows that these people feel that the West are full of infidels who are non-believers in God and who are damned and things. So it tries to be fair to what their beliefs are, even if it doesn't agree with them. You know, but again, it shows you complications that every system has its problems, and it's it's not the most complicated version of look at the problem in media, but it's not like simplistic either. It's complicated. It doesn't try and simplify things. It doesn't try and overcomplicate things. It's just showing you that this is a complicated matter and there's no easy solutions. So that's the basic setup. And also one of the main characters is a man whose father was murdered by he's a Muslim and his father was murdered by the Islamic extremists when he and his family went back to try and help the deprived areas, because they were living in Denmark and they have a good life and they wanted to give something back to the members of their faith who had it much worse. And all that happened was they ran into the extremists who ended up beheading his father, and that turned him into a guy seeking vengeance. So he's going out to try and kill this guy who killed his father. So it shows like it's not just Muslims hating, not just Islamic extremists hating the Europeans. They hate other members of their own faith who aren't as extreme, who are probably more centrist, more like basically much more mainstream, who just don't believe in killing people for not believing the same as them. So everything's complicated. So this guy gets turned into a vengeance-seeking madman by his father being killed, and then he's manipulated by CIA, and there's lots of things going on there. I'm trying to avoid going into the second half of the movie. I'm just trying to do the setup so that if you haven't seen the film, you can still go and see it. I'm not going to go into the second half. I'm just going to give you the first half of the movie. So you've got that situation. You've also got the lead guy from Game of Thrones, whose name I'm not even trying to pronounce. Nicholas Costas, Nicotero, or whatever. I'm terrible with foreign names. I'm always going to get them wrong. And he's a lead character. He's a cop who makes a simple mistake early on. He forgets his gun to go to what he thinks is just basically a domestic dispute. It turns into basically him and his partner walk into basically the biggest terrorist crime scene ever. All hell breaks loose. So here you get a chance for DePalma to do like rooftop chases, murders, and pure DePalma stuff. It's really wonderfully done. But it's also like, these are kind of cops who are, they're just going day by day. Some cases are more difficult than others, but they're just doing their job, and it's something they walk into the worst situation imaginable. And all hell breaks loose, and this sort of leads to other complications. The cop, who's obviously made a big mistake, but he's not a bad cop, he just made one simple mistake because he wasn't paying attention. He ends up getting his partner ends up in a coma, but obviously he's not going to make it, and that creates problems for him because he wants to find the guy who did it. It turns out the guy who did it is the one chasing the terrorists, so even though he's guilty of killing his friend, he's also complicated in himself. So that's kind of the situation. Basically, they're chasing him. He's chasing the lead terrorist. They've also tried to find out what's happened to the lead terrorist as well. Well, the lead cop's dealing with the fact that his own people are now suspicious of him because of what happened. They're going to be investigations, or he might have some serious problems with his career because of the mistakes he made. So you're seeing the whole idea of everything's complicated. It's very much a noir. It's a film noir, basically. It's a film noir set in, Denmark, which is quite nice because it's like it's a country you don't normally see a film noir in, but it's obviously a film noir taking. The villains are Islamic extremists, but that's just a new threat. But it's still a film noir with a lead character who's dealing with his own frailties. He's dealing with the fact that his best friend, who's his partner, may have been keeping stuff from him. But this is quite interesting. It's not to do with the case; it's to do with personal life, and so the film puts a lot more emphasis on these cops' personal lives and where they're flawed, where they're not exactly who they seem. But it's not like they're like masterminds or anything. It's just much more that they're much more human and much more open to flaws and much more complicated than they initially think they're going to be. So there's all these complications throughout the film that actually make it really enjoyable because it's not just a thriller. The problem with the film is though that the middle section, there's obviously bits been cut out. I mean, there's just obviously they've lost like a whole host of scenes because the film's an hour. It's on the back cover. It's 1 hour 30 minutes, but the credits at the end are pretty long, so it's only about 1 hour 20 really, and you can feel it because it's paced a certain way for the first 40 minutes, and then there's some stuff in the middle which is character stuff that seems to have been chopped away, and then suddenly you're going towards conclusion. And you can sense there's things that are missing that would be building things up. Like the guy chasing the terrorist, the guy who killed the cop's partner, he's like the central character in lots of ways he's like the central character early on. And then it feels a lot of his stuff's been cut out in the middle section. And you really miss it because he's the most interesting character in the film. And he's the most complicated story, and suddenly he's no longer he's in the film for little bits and pieces, but he's no longer there as much as he should be. Guy Pearce is in it as the CIA guy, and he's in it for quite a bit, then suddenly he's not in it much for a while, and they just seem to be sitting waiting for the plot to happen. It's like, you feel there's more there that has been cut out, because it's more character based and less plot based. There's a lot of stuff with the lead cop and a fellow cop who's also the lover of the guy who stabbed early on. And you sense they're setting something up, the cop and her, because it wasn't a love thing, it was like the fact that they both knew this guy who's died, and they've complicated relationship with each other because of that, because they knew him in a different context, and it's much more complicated. And that's explored a bit, but you feel it was explored a lot more in an earlier cut, because you feel there's stuff taken out that would have added some weight to it. So by the time you get to the conclusion, there's less weight to everything that's going on than there should be. And it's just I feel there's lots of other stuff that was in the film, but was taken out at some point. Like the three central characters, you felt there was more in there in the middle of the film than is actually in the film now. Because there's scenes, because DePalma's still a great craftsman. He was late 70s he made this film, but cutting between one scene and the other and progressing the plot and keeping it interesting and moving people through the frame, he's still got all that. And then suddenly there's a point where it cuts awkwardly to another scene. And it's like, obviously there's a scene in between that would have made this transition work. That it's no longer there, because suddenly there were two scenes in a row are dealing with the same thing, and he's been intercutting various plot lines throughout, and he's not sticking one, and then suddenly there's a couple of scenes together that feel awkward and are all at the same plot point, and it's like, well, obviously there's something important being cut out of this. And then you suddenly feel that through the middle part of the film, like, there's nothing as basic as that before. There's no like weird stylistic cuts that feel awkward, but there's still moments of drama you feel are awkward, like they're going from A to B to C, but so why did they go there? Obviously there's a plot reason, but you feel there was more reasons to go there that was cut out, and it's like suddenly you're not globetrotting, you're traveling around Europe in a way that doesn't feel like there's weight to the movement because all this stuff been cut. And that becomes a problem in the film, basically because I've cut stuff out, and it makes each scene feel a bit more weightless than it should be. And it's really annoying because if we get good actors, Carice Van Houten as the woman who's travelling with the lead cop, and she's really good. And him and her are really good together. And all the acting's good in the film. Everyone's giving it something. Everyone's trying, you know, even smaller parts, they're all trying to give little character beats to whatever they're doing. Like De Palma likes eccentric actors. And you feel he's had a lot of actors who like to do these little things around within the frame that makes it human and interesting, and he's allowing that, and he's giving them space, and it's nice to watch these actors just have space and do their thing. But you feel there's bits missing that should be there that would have given weight, especially when it gets to the end. Well, I'm not going to go into, but the end's a terrific. Being the last third builds to this terrific De Palma sequence, right? And it's wonderfully technically, but you're feeling as it would have been more weight if some scenes had been left in. And that becomes a problem in the film. It's like, there's just scenes that in other De Palma films would be there and cut out, so when you lead up to a conclusion, everyone's got the weight to make all the suspense work. In this film, some of that stuff's been cut out and there's not enough weight to what's going on. And that becomes a real problem. But the film, despite all that, the film's still a De Palma film. And there's still some wonderful shots. Even though he's working on a low budget, he's such a good technical director. He's obviously still interested in the craftsmanship. I mean, he's making this film when most other directors would have retired. I mean, like, by this point, Hitchcock was pretty much dead. Was pretty much dying. And De Palma's still making a really good film. And it's just been cut to shreds. But it's like, he's got enough good or great films in his career for him to be fine for his legacy, but it's still kind of disappointing to see a director of his stature getting butchered by bad producers, because this is what it feels like, because it feels like he's put a lot of work into this. And even though he's working the 1:85 ratio, which isn't his usual 2:3:1 ratio, he tends to work in a lot. You know, sort of fill the frame and move the camera in interesting ways. Sometimes it's not even show off, it's just how they move within the frame to get from A to B, but he makes it interesting because he knows it's fun to have interesting set pieces, and even if it's not a set piece, it's just a camera movement, you can get to A to B. If you make it interesting and enjoyable, he can give you characterization of how the characters live their lives and things like that. So, like, the cops are shot in their own way, which is much more drifty, more. It shows that they enjoy each other's company, so it's a much more lightweight camera. And then when it gets serious, the camera locks down a lot more. And De Palma's using like editing to create the tension and showing the frailty of people within the frames as they go across rooftops and deal with problems where they don't have their guns available to them, and things like that really work because De Palma's good at these small details. The way he frames the shots are still beautiful. It's still a really well made film. And again, the acting's wonderful. I mean, no one's given a career best performance, but everyone seems to be enjoying themselves when the camera's turned on and they're trying. Everyone's like trying because they're trying to make a good film. Because I think sometimes you see a film with a lot of producers, sometimes you see the actors are like, because it's such a brutal filming. But in this film, the actors do feel like they're having fun within the shooting space. So it's just a shame it was edited down, because you can feel there's a much better film in here. And what's cool is you can sense that there's still a lot of De Palma in here. There's a lot of cynicism about politics, how what is a simple revenge story morphs because of politics into something that's much more complicated, and where everyone gets more compromised and mistakes happen, and the fallibility of human lives enter into politics in interesting ways. And even when someone's obviously brutal and good at their job, they can make horrible mistakes. So it's a fun, interesting De Palma film. I definitely recommend it if you like De Palma. And even if you like thrillers are a bit more humane and a bit more about characters rather than lots of special effects, I would recommend this film. It's an enjoyable film. It's just, it has been edited. It has been cut down from what it should be, but it's still a very underrated film. I think it's something that will be looked back upon years later as something better than how it's seen just now. So I don't want to say any more. I don't want to, make you think I'm going to go on forever. So that's my look at Domino. I will do some more De Palma films over the next month or two. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this looks fine when it's uploaded. Okay, right, bye.